Okay, so today I want to talk about some of this red pill nonsense because these guys who get together in some room or some voice chat or some podcast with like their $300 microphones and they do these cringy displays of fake masculinity, pretending like they're the man, like they're so badass, like this like fantasy that they have to put on this persona because they're so prideful they can't accept that they're just fucking losers like all of us. They can't accept that everything fucking sucks and maybe it's over. They have to put on this persona of being like the man, which is so ironic because these guys are the least the man, whatever that is, in the world. I mean, the reason in the first place why they made these podcasts is because they were struggling. There was issues. Their lives fucking sucked. I'm talking about the people watching and the people making the podcast because the people making the podcast are like a bunch of grifters who don't understand anything about anything and who just made the podcast to hopefully get some clout, get some money so that maybe someone can like put up with them. The people watching are even worse because these guys who pretend like they're so alpha, who just love hearing like insults and like some screamings, like pretending like something's happening because we're screaming at people. Like nobody gives a fuck. These people that they're screaming at, these women that they're screaming at, like they're coming on the podcast because they know that the guys watching are all gonna buy their OFs. It's the same guys. It's the same guys who are encouraging all these terrible behaviors that they like keep telling everybody that they're so terrible and they hate them so much, but they keep encouraging them because they have no control. They have no idea what they're doing. They're really just like spitting out some anger because the whole loneliness broke them or something. They have to like spit out this anger and put on this coping act like they're so cool, like they're so prideful, when in reality, right after the show is done, they're gonna go and buy the girl's OF and go fucking encourage all terrible things that they hate. They're gonna go encourage them because these guys just have no principle because they have no idea what they're doing. It's all kind of a coping mechanism. This entire space, Red Pill space, isn't actually about advice or helping anybody. It was never about that. It was just about feeling good about yourself, like you're because you're accomplishing something. It looks vaguely like you're getting retribution on the people that hurt you because other people are like quote unquote hurting them. But it's completely useless. You're gaining nothing by this. You're just wasting your time. You're getting grifted. You're losing your money. You're losing your time. You're losing your energy. Like, what's the point of all this nonsense? People just can't accept reality and move on. Like these guys on these shows, like they will literally get told to their face by the influencers that 99% of men won't succeed. Like it's unlikely only 1% succeed. And of course all these guys are like, yeah, I'm totally that 1%. I'm totally going to succeed. They all see themselves as that 1%. But it's so absurd. Imagine some guy tells you 99% of people are going to fail and you still listen to their podcast. Like why would I even listen to your teachings if 99% success rate, like 99% failure rate of the people that follow your teachings, it's not helpful at all. But of course all these guys see themselves as these champions that are gonna beat all the odds, and this is why this mentality, this hopeful, like I was gonna say blue pill, but I guess it's red pill, this red pill mentality of we're gonna work hard, we're gonna do it, you gotta grind, you gotta hustle, you gotta make muscles, like this hopeful, like hard work does everything mentality is just complete retardation because it doesn't work in real life. And it's so true that they even had to acknowledge it in a way, but they said 99%, not 100%, so they can still leave a window for the most pathetic copers to maybe still get grifted off their podcast, to maybe still believe in this idea. But the reality is, it's not 99%, it's 100% for 99%. And all the people watching this podcast all are already people that are struggling in a bunch of ways. You think they're gonna succeed? Not really. This is a much bigger issue than like these little knickknacks that they're putting on these podcasts, these little issues that they speak. It's a very deep issue, but these guys never seem to look beyond like some perverse, some vulgar like subject, some people screaming, like they can't look beyond that because they're never gonna think about the genetics. They're never gonna think about demographics. They're never gonna think about all these more complex issues that build our society together and that have had led us to this point. They're just gonna keep screaming and keep banging their chests like gorillas, pretending like something's happening, like they're doing something. Meanwhile, they're getting grifted, they're getting used, they were losing money, they're just wasting their time running in some hamster wheel, thinking they're improving, they're doing something, but they're just losing their time. They're embarrassing themselves constantly, and they have no idea what's happening because they're goofy, because they're goofers. And we're sitting there watching everything collapse, watching everything go to shit, and we have to pretend like it's normal because these guys just have no idea what they're doing. I mean, do you think it's normal that there's 5,000 videos on how to talk to people and how to get relationships? Is that normal? 5,000 tutorials? What the hell is happening here? That's not normal at all. That never was needed in the history of humanity. Do you know how people are supposed to make relationships? You're supposed to wake up, go outside, and actually just meet people and just make relationships. That's how it's actually supposed to be. But that's mind blowing to people nowadays because things have degraded so much, things have gone to shit so much that that seems like a fever dream. And it's so much of a fever dream, but there's still the old ideas in place. That's why they tell you to go outside, go touch grass, bro, just go touch grass, take a shower, you just gotta take that shower, just gotta go to the gym, like, and these guys will repeat these ideas too, not really understanding them. You know, all these rebel guys will tell you to take 50 showers and go to the gym every day and become a Hulk and all this shit that doesn't matter. Can't you see that it's not normal that we have to do these things in the first place? Can't you see that there's already a much deeper issue with the state of society? That everyone has no community, that everyone is lost, that everyone has lost their mind, that the culture is perverted, that everyone is just completely alienated from everything and people just hate each other. That, you know, it's only the tip of the iceberg, but there's a much deeper issue than just you didn't go to the gym enough. You're just didn't take 3 showers a day. Do you think that's the issue? Did men just spontaneously in the year, 2000 or something, start not taking showers? Did they all just start not going to the gym? Is that what actually changed? Or is there something deeper that we need to talk about? But of course, nobody gives a fuck. Nobody gives a fuck about what's actually happening because it's not profitable. You can't grift off it. Nobody wants to change anything. Well, nobody has even the capacities to change anything, to be honest. So all we can do is just scream in the void and hope that something happens. Meanwhile, we see grifters and liars and just insanity keep on popping up, and we just have to live with that, I guess. I don't want to be too negative, I don't want to be too negative because it's a sad situation, the fact that this is what society is. A bunch of kids are listening to this. I don't know if you've ever seen like the younger people. A lot of them are kind of within these ideas, even if they're not literally following it, even if they're not following it closely. They have kind of this mentality of, I have to make money, I have to be the man, like trying to impress everybody. Like there's something kind of worrying happening where people are just kind of all mushing together in this like over competitive kind of culture that is kind of weird, and I think it's given false expectations to a bunch of people, and it's really unhealthy. And I just don't want to speak out against that stuff. I just don't like that everybody's just oblivious to it. But I guess that's just life, things are just like that. The best you can do is just witness it, but you can never really do anything about it. I'm not trying to just complain, I hope things get better, but it is what it is, I'm trying to put the pieces back together, but it is what it is for now.